I know how to shape an explosion, Edgar.
Just imagine what would happen if we were to mix one part of God of War 2018's gameplay, the Order 1886's action gameplay and a bit of its concept dressed in Wild West, and also a bit of Call of Juarez-like vibe into one game. I'm sure it sounds either quite awesome or ridiculous for many, but if I were to summarize Evil West quickly, that is what it is. Evil West took around 10 hours to complete, and for these 10 hours I would rather say fun but nothing that interesting or unique. Developed by Flying Wild Hog, the team that is known with their new Shadow Warrior series, Trek to Yomi and Hard Reset, Evil West as being their first third-person action hack and slash title is quite surprising. Its ambience, concept and the world looks quite charming, and even for a AA title, its combat and action feels sometimes challenging but quite action-packed. However, there is something missing from its core. Evil West unfortunately feels quite forgettable and reminds me of third-person shooters like Warhammer 40k Space Marine from PlayStation 3 era. I believe you need to be in the correct mood or looking to play a game about cowboy, outlaw-looking dudes shooting western vampires, ghouls and demons specifically. Well, let's dig deeper into the world of Evil West first.
It's only natural to feel fear while standing on the precipice of change.
Evil West presents us Jesse Rentier, the prodigy of vampire demon hunter Rentier Institute first. American frontier is more chaotic than it once was. Now the Wild West is also filled with vampires, ghouls and other deadly creatures trying to slaughter humans or increase their dark horde. Jesse and his mentor Edgar are on the trail of a vampire that will soon lead to bigger events, making Jesse to face even darker forces and fulfilling his legacy of Rentier Institute's prodigy. Although the world setting is Wild West, both Jesse and the world of Evil West also have access to Tesla-made equipments, coils and other devices. In Jesse's case, we have a big-ass glove that lets us punch any threat, a good old revolver, rifle-like weapons to shoot, and even a flamethrower at some point to torch any enemy or bosses, however you wish to. This Rentier gauntlet has again a Tesla-like electric coil and a system around that can let Jesse teleport short distances, electrifying enemies and also to perform cool thunder punches when gauntlet has enough energy in it. The world of Evil West is mostly colored in western orange, yellow and green, and the ambience really sucks you in, especially with its atmosphere and visuals. However, I cannot say the same for the level design or the enemy variety or gameplay overall. Nearly after 1 or 2 hours, you understand how Evil West will progress throughout 10 hours, how the gun mechanics and even fights against the creatures actually are. It might offer a fun, pure action experience out of PlayStation 2 and 3 era, but I can't say for more. I didn't care a lot about its actual story, side characters and even Jesse. For me personally, this is quite sad, but for some, pure action in dark western setup might be a good choice, maybe even perfect. If I were to talk about myself, first I need to either like the main character, the setting or the world setup first to feel connected to it. Then comes the story, the side characters and even the motive of the villain that would motivate me to keep on going. Unfortunately, only the concept of dark western was interesting for me, and sadly both Jesse and the main villain were quite forgettable here. Probably the first thing you'll realize is how much the in-game camera and the combat resembles God of War 2018. Jesse can punch with his gauntlet, reflect and even parry the incoming attacks, use his revolver or his rifle to deal range damage or interrupt incoming, flashing special attacks of its enemies. Jesse gets quickly surrounded by its enemies, pushing players to use every equipment, weapon and Jesse's upgrades to overcome these, even though you play it on normal difficulty, but there is something a bit missing here. It feels like the formula should work here, keeping everything interesting and with full of adrenaline, but I do feel like some aspects feel short. Especially the level design and how the combat shows itself as in Devil May Cry style. Basically, Jesse enters an obviously large arena, you hear a bell sound and the ghouls, demons appear. You know that you can use your sound of shotgun to break their shields, use your rifle to clear low health mobs, or use your gauntlet to hit hard, but that's it. You literally know what you're gonna do from the start, and Evil West keeps the flow to that level. There wasn't really a surprise factor for me during my 10-hour experience. The moment you see the enemies appearing within that arena, you know which weapons you need to use, how to break their posture, and the rest was how you play it, how you position yourself, and how much you use the spike cages or other hazards to eliminate your enemies. That's it. To be honest, I'm not quite sure how to define Evil West here. It sure does feel and look like a third-person action shooter, but it also has the elements of an hack and slash title. There is no combos or changing into different weapons to make gameplay stylish neither. It is mostly the pure action that is offered to you throughout the game. Shoot the TNTs, punch an enormous bat, and open them a new butthole with a gory finisher move, and then continue your linear path. That is mostly it. Besides that, Evil West doesn't let you experiment or tinker with Jesse's equipment or customizations. In addition, I would say there is not customization in Evil West, but rather improvements. I think that will be the most matching definition. By each defeated enemy, Jesse will earn experience points, and when he's leveled up, you gain 1 perk points to customize your passive abilities, unlock new moves, or extend your health or your gauntlet's energy bar. In addition to this, there are also lots of collectible money in each level that will help you to unlock new attributes for your weapons, like increasing the bullet capacity of your revolver, extending the flamethrower range, increasing the rifle damage whatsoever. These collectible money are mostly spread out to different sides of the levels, which I will be talking about next, and I'm not gonna say good things about that. As I said before, the ambience of Dark Fantasy Western and the visuals are quite good. Even during some levels, I felt that the developers worked really hard to create a unique ambience that would feel unique and belong to Evil West. A full moon with bats circling around, an oil field swarmed with creatures to jump on Jesse. However, the level design can't get any more bland than it already is. Climbable objects, obstacles shining brightly to guide your way, and after a battle the path usually divides into either 2 or 3. One is for the main mission and the rest is for collectibles that will probably have some documents to give you a backstory about the Evil West, which you will most probably won't care, and the money for upgrades. I know that nowadays nearly every single game has this kind of an approach, but even among those, Evil West still feels quite repetitive and bland. There is not much of an exploration that would also reward the players, or again any multi-layered level design that would somehow surprise me. Besides its visuals or the overall atmosphere, the levels were quite shallow, as its formula is narrow path, fight arena, narrow path with puzzle, fight arena, narrow path and a boss fight, as last. Bit shame in my opinion. Just by pointing out these aspects, you would understand that it really feels like an action game from PlayStation 2 to PlayStation 3 era, satisfying the player's need of single-player, linear action game, and that is totally fine if you're looking for such experience. However, I would love to see some more customizations for Jesse's weapons, especially another melee weapon that I can switch within the combat to just make things a bit more interesting for me. However, if you're looking for a dark fantasy western world experience and just want to shoot some western bandit vampires, then you would have fun. Just don't expect to see really interesting world with deep, sympathetic side characters or really memorable villain with an interesting motive, and you will be fine. Also keep in mind that many Steam users are having problem with its co-op mode being broken currently, so if you're also looking to buy it for the co-op, then it's best to wait for a little while or for a sale at least. Evil West has a decent, action-packed combat, but besides that, it's bland and unfortunately forgettable. I would recommend it for people who is into single-player action games, but for the rest, it is up to you if you like what you see here. It can be bought for PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, Series X and Steam for $50 US, though I feel like it kinda deserves less for the time being.